So, introduction to the accounts receivable job. As the accounts receivable manager, my main responsibility is to oversee hotel managers' receivable accounts and to ensure they follow all the accounts receivable procedures. This includes managing accounts at 60 days plus and collecting these debts in a timely manner. It also includes looking at the current outstanding and 30 days plus outstanding and assisting the managers with that also. I have to liaise with the debt collection agency and the legal team if required. Also reporting old accounts to senior management that are no longer recoverable. This requires liaising with property managers on a regular basis to share correspondence with individuals, companies, and travel agents and where the accounts are sitting at. Furthermore, have to perform credit checks on any new company applications and manage the company and travel agent database. Also have to manage refund requests and provide documentation and evidence to a senior manager for approval of those refunds, and then process those refunds. The role also includes many other elements, including RMS support, assisting managers with invoicing, reservations, reporting, and accounting. Going through what we'll be speaking about today, we'll start with the debtors ledger, creating it, exporting it to the spreadsheet, the AR spreadsheet that I built, and breakdown of the spreadsheet and its purpose. We'll talk about new company credit applications, our RMS company database, the actual credit application itself, the form, the procedure for new companies, 3 different ways managers can send us that form or have a new company added, and actually creating a new company. I'll then talk about refunds, the whole process there, the documentation that's needed, the approval procedure. And then I'll also I'll go more in depth about an RMS reservation screen from an AR perspective, what the major focal points for the managers are, how it differs for companies, individuals, travel agents. Speak a lot about chargeback vouchers because they're really important. And then company reservations, sending invoices, purchase orders, and things to look out for when an invoice has not been paid. I'll now show you how to create a debtors ledger, which is our main report that we use in accounts receivable. It shows us the outstanding AR for all properties. So in RMS, we want to go to reports. We want to go to accounting, debtors ledger. You can click this little star button down the bottom to set it as one of your favorites, and it will show up like that. Now, I will start with this. I have also set up a schedule for this report in a CSV format to be sent to the ar@primega.com.au, which you'll have access to. It'll come to you every Monday morning at about 6 a.m. I set it for. So you don't actually have to do this. You can just check your emails. But this is how you create a debtors ledger. So we want it for all properties. Leave that. We want to get rid of owners. So we've got 7 out of 8. The reservation status, I select all, get rid of all of them, and then cancelled, departed, and no-show. And then change that to travel agent over company. You can go into more options and you can filter down to greater than 30, greater than 60, greater than 90. You can just look at current. But for now, I'm exporting the whole report to my spreadsheet. So I'll just leave it like this. So then you go export to CSV. Okay, now we just open that. Now, what we want to do is we want to, I'll add one column here. I'll show you why later. Then we want to delete account numbers, site, account type, and phone. They're not useful for my spreadsheet. And we want to put what week it is, and you'll see why later in a second. Just drag that down. Now we just want to copy that over to here, which is my spreadsheet. And we'll place in there. You see, I've already done week 119. I did it at the start of the week, so I am just making it 119.5. And we just want to go down to the bottom and write down that bottom number, 32058. Okay, so after you have copy and pasted it into this spreadsheet, we want to go to summary and go to pivot table analyze and change data source. And that number we wrote down below, we will put it in there. So 32058 and press OK. Now we go back to here and you'll see that's the start of the week. And now I've got 119.5 and I can see the updated figures here. Now I'll show you a little bit about what we can do with the spreadsheet. As you can see here, we've got all outstanding for all the properties. We've got all the credits, which will be bonds, credit vouchers, other types of credits. And during COVID, we had a lot of credit vouchers given out. So this is fairly inflated. And we have a lot of long-term stays as well. So there's a lot of bonds in there. We have current 30 days. Now, all this is the manager's responsibility. And then 60 days plus, 90 days plus, this is the accounts receivable officer's responsibility. We do need to help out with 30 and current, more so 30, but just keep an eye out that like the managers are invoicing correctly, haven't missed virtual credit cards or other credit cards. Yeah, so on a daily basis, I would come to here to see what the highest priority is. So you can see Lagoons is 24,000, not too bad. They do have 32,000 in credit. So, but you'll see here, Cairns is 100,000 and there's 18 in 90, 15 in 60. So that would be a high priority of mine. I can open up here and have a look which properties have the outstanding. If it's all, say, see this HRS Australia, 7,700. So I can even go further and look at all the reservation numbers. So that would be probably a good place to start. And I'd go call up HRS or send a statement out to them. Over here, I have some slices, so you can select a certain property. If you want to just look at what's outstanding at Class and Downtown, there you go. You can even control it, look at all the Gladstone properties if you want. You'll see 336,000 outstanding. So these are the weeks. You can look back how we were going at week 100. Like that. And then these are the debtors. So if someone asked me, you know, how much is Pinnacle Safety, I'll ask $100. So that's a good way to break that down. And then coming back over to the spreadsheet, this is where you record all your notes. And the reason I do a new one every week is so we can have notes for, say, go up. So you make a note for week 119 on a certain certain reservation. Then if I do something else later, will be on week 119.5, and I'll put another note here. So then I can have a quick look at the, show you here, say, for example, it's this one. I can have a look at the notes that were here, and this is a legal one from way back, so no notes. And also this spreadsheet has just been fixed, so I haven't been using it recently. Okay, so I'll go through a few other things with the debtors ledger spreadsheet and talk about a few little tricks and also some other factors. It really depends on what's best for you, which way you want to do the AR. You can physically print out those debtors ledgers for individual properties. So you can print out 20 different debtors ledgers, and you can do it once a fortnight and have a folder and write notes onto that. Or you can use the spreadsheet like this. I have archived spreadsheets, which I'll just show you right now. So here's the AR project. So this is all important documents for the AR. I have current AR spreadsheets. One which includes the AR additional resources. I'll just open this. Here we have everything that we've sent to debt collection. We have write-offs, which needs to be filled out. We have incorrect receipting. This is when a manager has incorrectly receipted something and we've just been very busy and haven't had time to fix it, because it takes quite a while to fix a incorrect receipting. You have to go back far away and it can take quite a while. We have anomalies. This is something that Sid asked us to do a while back, of just errors that we saw the managers completing. So you can have a read through here and it'll give you a good idea of what errors we deal with on a daily basis. We got credits, we got another sheet. This OTA hierarchy is a place for all the travel agent portals and relevant information for that. For example, Travel Cube, you have to log on to a portal using these logins, and you have to upload invoices. But we have basically let go of Travel Cube, so you don't have to worry about that. And then some other spreadsheets that the other accounts department use. Okay, so going back here, the current has not yet hit 30 days, and a lot of this will get collected without us having to worry about it. The sum of 30 days, so all of this, some of it might have just gone into 30 days. And keep in mind that travel agents have made up their own trading terms of 45 days when COVID hit. So a lot of them do only pay, they can pay quicker, and they often do, but sometimes they can pay 45 days up to 60 days. Yeah, I'd just have a breakdown of this and look at, start from the back and work on the 90 days, 60 days. And then once you've had a good go at 60 and 90, you can start working on 30. And then you can even have a look at current, even though it's the manager's responsibilities, you can have a look at current and see if there's any virtual credit cards that have been missed or things have been invoiced, if you find time to do that. And then the credits are made up of bonds, credit vouchers we've issued. During COVID, we issued a lot of credit vouchers. And pretty much that's what it's made up of. Okay, so I'll just go into the other tab, where all the data is kept. And I'll just show you how you can look at a certain reservation. I've got one here, so 580815. And I'll show you how you can record information to remember what you've done to collect this outstanding debt. So here we've got Cheryl Gussett from Calandra Central Apartment she stayed, and corporate travel management. So she was stayed all the way back in 28th June 21. So obviously there's something wrong here. So you can see that I have made some notes here. In December, I said resend invoice. January, resent the invoice plus the chargeback. So I must have got the chargeback. I've done it again here. And then I've contacted the travel agent, and the manager was sent an email to fix the invoice, and I have fixed the invoice and sent again. So this is a good way to keep track of your collection efforts. And yeah, you can use these filters that I've set up here to look at the history. So I'll just select them all. But yeah, it really just comes down to what's the most efficient and effective way for you to do the work. And you can use these colors. I like to use them to for a quick look at my spreadsheet. And they mean things to me. For example, if I put it blue, it means I need to come back and do something there. If it's green, it's all good. And red, there's something wrong. It's a write-off or it needs to be taken to legal. And that's about it. There's also, because this spreadsheet gets so big, I have to archive spreadsheets. And if you use this, you'll have to do it too. So I've just went in and cut and pasted weeks 1 to 52 to here, and weeks 53 to 99 here. And then I also have all these other old spreadsheets because I kept updating this spreadsheet. So you can use these to try to look for old information and old collection efforts. And then the current spreadsheets are in here, and I've also got a breakdown of 90 plus and legals and write-offs. I'll now show you what I do once I export the debtors ledger to the spreadsheet. This one's actually I've just exported it to its own page because I had a few problems with my spreadsheet, but it is fixed now. So I did this back on the 24th of March, about a month ago. So I really need to get a new one now. But you'll see, I'll just go through a few parts of it and show you what's going on. Okay, so over here we got property name, the hotel, we got the debtor. So is it the travel agent, the company? If it's got nothing here, it usually means it's a long-term stay, or it's an individual that the managers invoice when they shouldn't be, or a company they've invoiced that isn't set up. So that's a problem. And then we have the reservation number. This is our unique identifier for RMS. This is our go-to. You can type it up here and you can go straight to the reservation by just pressing enter. I'll take you to the reservation screen. We've got the invoice number. Sometimes you can look through here and you can look for accounts that have no invoice, and it might be that the manager has missed that invoice, although the ones I can see here aren't that case. It's like a booking.com guest to pay, and the property has missed payment. So I've written here DC debt collection. So you've got the name, you've got the arrive date, and then you've got how old the debt is, or if it's a credit. So you got current, 30, 60, 90. So this one is in 90 days, or was a month ago. And you'll see here my notes, payment plan. And I use these colors. You can do whatever you like, but I use these colors to quickly remind me what's happening with the account. And green means it's all good. She's been paying off a payment plan. Red obviously means something bad has happened, and it's either going to legal or debt collection, or it might even be a write-off and a bad debt. and blue means that I have something to do. And you can see here, spoke to David mid-Feb, call AOT. I would have given them a call on the day, and travel agents can be very hard to get onto. So I need to call them back, and you'll see I've got a few of them here. So I'll call AOT and go through all of them. So yeah, you just want to go through one by one, try to collect the money and make a note of it. And when you're making this note on here, I always make it there, and then I go over to RMS and I copy and paste the note from the spreadsheet to here. As you can see, this one has a note there. So everyone, the managers know what I've done, and I know what I've done on my spreadsheet. Okay, so the new company credit application procedure was brought into place. So then we can check the reliability of companies and their credit reliability prior to taking on their business. So we have a whole procedure where we send them out a credit application form, and the managers have been emailed this. Then the company fills it out, it's returned, and we check to see if we do a credit check on them, a search on them, and make sure they're reliable. We've had, in the past, we've had a lot of, not a lot, but a few companies going into liquidation, and we could have done more checks on more credit checks on them prior to them to taking on their business, and we could have refused their business, and it would save us money. There's also other ways that the managers can send for a new company to be added, and I will show you them as well, and then also show you how to create a new company. I'll now go over the credit application process and have a look at our company database. So in RMS, I go to setup and I go to company, and it's the same for travel agent down here. Okay, so here's the database of all our companies. You can search up here. So I'll just start with Adani. Go in here. This is all their main accounts. So I'll bring over a credit application. So this is a returned credit application from Adani Mining. They've filled out all the details. I'm really looking for this area, like their phone number, address for invoice purposes, and very important to get their accounts email and account contact helps. Then they can fill out these areas. We generally only accept 30 days, but they can suggest one and then sign off. So then with that, I transfer all that information into here. I write credit approved. I'll show you where that comes from. So it actually hasn't been set up here, but there's 5 different parts. Credit approved, which is when they've returned the form and we've approved them. Credit granted, which is like for a government department or a really big company that we can just do a search on anyways, and they say that they're not going to fill it out. Credit hold, if we're not accepting them as credit, credit pending, maybe I'm waiting on the form or something. And then credit card only, the company has decided, has asked to only pay by credit card. So here I'll just put credit approved, save it up here. Okay, and then if you go into, you have to go into build to credit hold, and you have to, usually this is on when you make a new company, so you have to turn that off, and that wasn't put in either. We'll just put in 30 days. And then if you go to documents, this is where you have to press this little button and attach the credit application, which is right there. Okay, so to show you a little bit more about this credit application process, we have sent to all managers the credit application. So Ideally, we'd like them to just send directly to the company as one of their employees stay, and they ask about credit. We get the managers to just send off one of those credit applications. And on the credit application, we say, just send this back to this email, the company accounts at Central GA, which you'll be monitoring. And then once it's received, we do all the processing. However, there's a couple other ways they can do it. They can just send myself an email, or AR an email, or the central or the company accounts email, something like this. The company has workers staying with us. Can you please email paperwork to here? And I click on there and I create an email and send off the credit application saying, thanks for staying with us. Would you like to open a credit account on 30-day payment terms? And then once returned, complete the process of setting up the company and adding it in. The other way we can do it is we've set this up so the managers can just type in TBA for a company or a travel agent, more so companies, and they can click that. And then we can show you, we can run a statement down here, report statement, and we can run for the property for, I would just say, the last year, and you can go specific property and type TBA, new company request, and we can build that, and that'll give us a list of all the TBAs. The other way we can have a look at it is go to the bulk payment report down here in utilities, and we can go here and it'll be sitting there if there's a TBA, and we can click on it from there. I'll just show you a couple of tricks and issues with the credit application. So if I go here to Emerald, you see these companies now, they've been added and accepted credit. But if I go to group name, you'll see this one here, Ditech. Now this has not been added as a company, and the way the managers get around this is they add the company name in the group name. You see Ditech there. Now, if I go down here, type in DIT, you'll see that nothing comes up. So it's not a company that's been approved credit. But if they do this, they can still invoice out to Ditech. Now, I will just say that also this group name is used by many managers to put a status of the reservation. I'll go back here and show you. You'll see incorrectly receipted, invoice, legal, BCC. So it is a way to help them understand what's happening with the reservation and give themselves a reminder about the status. That is also a trick to not add them as a company, and we need to try to enforce sending out the credit application, so then they have to add it as a company. So if they put the company as Ditech up here, when they run an invoice, I will show you what it looks like. You can see up here, they billed it to the client, but because they've put in Ditech in the group name, show you when this invoice creates. Okay, so now all it has is billed to Ditech and Jono Ott. Really what we want there is, and also from a tax perspective, they need to have their company name and the address. So it should be Ditech and then the company's address. And a lot of this can be an issue because a lot of companies and travel agents will just simply not pay the bill if their address is not there. Okay, I'll now speak about the refunds, the refund procedure. We need to be aware of the refund and cancellation policies. Our general cancellation period is 24 hours before arrival. So a one-night cancellation fee will be charged if it's cancelled in that timeframe. There are exceptions, some being corporate clients, group bookings, and peak periods. So please be aware of these and ask around the office and you'll find that out. So straightforward refunds such as a guest who's booked for 10 nights, cancels after 5 nights. A one-night cancellation fee will be taken and the remaining nights can be refunded at the property via FPOS as long as the payment was taken on FPOS to start with, without head office approval. So just to reiterate, those kind of straightforward refunds, we don't need approval for those. We have told the managers that if they're unsure, please send through and we'll do our checks and get the approval. Also, bond refunds do not require, they need to be sent through to head office because we've got a refund via direct credit, but I don't need to go to the COO for approval. And just to reiterate again, bookings cancelled 24 hours before arrival will receive a full refund, apart from those exceptions. So subjective refunds must be approved at head office. An example of that is like the aircon not working or cleanliness of room was not up to the guest standard. So what we need from the manager, we need the email and the correspondence between them and the guest. We need all the documentation and evidence they can provide. So like I said, the email, a screenshot, the reservation number, any other notes, and yeah, all the correspondence that's been made with the guest about the refund. So for approval, it's taken to the COO. If he approves it, it then goes to processing, which we upload it to NAB, and then someone else in the accounts department has to approve that payment because one person needs to upload the payment and then one person approves it. And then I make final notes on the RMS reservation screen, for example, refund approved by NK, upload to NAB for MR approval. They're just those initials. And then sometimes a credit voucher is issued instead of a refund. Okay, now I'll speak about RMS reservations and invoicing. So in this section, I'll talk about how a reservation needs to be entered for companies, travel agents, and individuals and how they differ. I'll look at a chargeback voucher from a travel agent and the different types. And the chargeback voucher is the most important document that a travel agent provides with the booking and purchase orders for companies. Things to look out for when an invoice is not being paid. The general procedure with invoicing and the major focal points for managers, which is attaching chargebacks, reference numbers, billing to the correct data, along with a lot of other things.
Okay, so now I will show you an RMS reservation and what we're trying to look out for from an AR perspective. So we have 3 different clients. We have companies, travel agents, and individuals. Most of our business is through travel agents, so that's the major point. So we'll start with the travel agents. Okay, so what we want to do is the major focus is on the chargeback voucher. And when we're sending an invoice, we want to ensure that we attach the chargeback voucher to the invoice. Now I'll show you a little bit later how to do that. For now, I'll just bring up a chargeback voucher here by pressing on the open attachment. So here we go. We got the chargeback voucher. This one's from CTM, Corporate Travel Management. Now, this chargeback voucher has all the information we need, the hotel needs, and the travel agent needs in order to pay the invoice. So you'll have the agency reference number. I'll start with that. I'll go back to here. So it's very important that we put in this number here, the agency reference number, not this number down here, the travel click number. Now, this travel click number, when a booking is automatically comes into our RMS from the OTA, online travel agent, it will auto feed in that reference number. We have to get the chargeback voucher and change it to this reference number. This is very important as the travel agents use this unique identifier to track down this booking, and it just makes their life a lot easier. Okay, so that's the first thing we want to check. Then we want to check the date, so correct, so 12th Feb to 13th, correct. Then we want to check the rate, so 147.09, yep. And then we go down a bit further. There's a cancellation, and we want to read this thoroughly because we need to work out whether the chargeback voucher is telling us to whether it's a pay-own account or we have to invoice the travel agent, or if there's a virtual credit card to charge. So you'll see here, please send room rate, breakfast, dinner and parking, Wi-Fi and newspapers, no minibar, and house movies, charge back to CTM Brisbane. For prompt payment, please email the invoice on day of checkout to accounts payable. So we'll go back here and check. Yep, they've got the email there, and that looks good to me. Check for typos, it's all good. And then to send an invoice, we want to go into the com tab. Now this is important here. We want to go up here and we go to bill to. Sometimes, and often an error by the managers or GSAs is that they bill to the client. So we want to always ensure that this is travel agent selected, or if it's for a company, the company selected. Now, we can't change that unless we cancel the invoice. And cancelling the invoice is not really recommended because it might get a bit confusing for the person at the other end. Because if we send this invoice and then cancel it and change the bill to and send a new invoice, now they've got two invoices, two different invoice numbers for the same reservation. And sometimes they will double pay. Anyways, going to here, we will go, I won't create an invoice as it's already been created. I'll just go existing invoice. You can print it if you want to print it out. You can email and print if you want a hard copy. For this, we'll just go email. I select the email on the chargeback voucher, choose accounts payable, travel CTM. Then I go to attach files. Now this is important. We want to go into here and we want to find the chargeback voucher wherever it may be in your folder. Double click it and then save and exit. And then we go email and exit. And that sends an invoice with the chargeback to the travel agent. It's all good. And then also, when you do that, when you attach it, the chargeback voucher automatically gets put into correspondence. So now the accounts receivable officer can go into correspondence and have a look at this chargeback by opening the attachment. Now, this saves a lot of time if I want to find out if all this information is correct. Was there a virtual credit card to charge? The dates and tariff, are they correct? This allows me to just go straight in there and have a look. Now the next part I will talk about is virtual credit cards and credit cards. For this one, you'll see here there's a credit card on file. However, we've read the chargeback voucher. We can see it says invoice to CTM. This credit card will just be for incidentals only, and it's not to be charged. Okay, now I will speak about virtual credit cards and pay own accounts. So on the chargeback voucher up here, all chargeback vouchers look a bit different depending on the travel agent. But up the top, they'll either have pay direct or something along these lines: pay direct, pay own account, chargeback. So pay direct means we have a virtual credit card, and it's often like a company that uses a corporate card. So you'll see here, Hardcastle, they've provided a credit card for us. So if we go into the reservation, that's in here, and we just simply charge the card. And you'll see here, this one's actually should have been charged already. And you'll see down in my notes, 3 times I've sent email to reservations to charge Amex, sent again to charge Amex, and then I have found out that they've attempted to charge the Amex, but it's declined. We'll check Expedia site. So I've passed that on to a colleague to check the Expedia site. She has access to that, and I'm awaiting on that. So the other type. So yeah, and I'll explain. A virtual credit card is basically a credit card that's applied to us from the travel agent, and it will expire as soon as it's used, and it can only be charged once, or it can only be charged for the total amount that's on the chargeback voucher. You see here, this one, for example, says 570, so we have to charge it for 570. But that's a different reservation. Then there's also pay own account. These are pretty rare, but sometimes a travel agent will send through a chargeback voucher that says guest to pay own account, and the manager or GSA at the hotel need to ensure that they take payment for the guest during their stay. These are ones to keep an eye out for because often they are missed by the manager of the GSA, and we just have to follow that up down the track, and it's hard to get payment. It's much easier to get payment during the stay, obviously. And then also the virtual credit cards. This one, we have a big problem with our staff not reading these chargeback vouchers thoroughly. For example, this one, you've got to read it all, and you've got to realise there's a credit card here. It says, please charge the credit card. It's also the guarantee card, but they want us to charge it. We need to ensure that we charge that and we're not invoicing. And I find these all the time. And I find many credit cards that should have been charged. So we actually have our own FPOS machine, virtual FPOS machine, which I can use. So this is it here. And we can go in, and if we find a card like that, we can go in here and we can plug in the credit card and take payment. Now, I can do a little tutorial of this later. I won't do it right now. And the only card I can't charge in here is Amex card, which unfortunately is the card on this reservation. Okay, now I'll just continue on reservations and invoicing, and have a quick look at a company reservation. So company reservations are a little bit different. They won't have a chargeback voucher. Instead, they'll either have a booking email or more commonly a purchase order. So you see here, we've got Maida contracting at Ascot Central, and it all looks to be filled out correctly. We've got payables at maidagroup.com.au, name, number, it all looks good. And then down here, here's our company database. So we can click on that to have a bit more information about the company. And they've typed in Maida and selected it from the database. Now we'll go in here, we can have a look. So what's really important with purchase orders is that we have the purchase order number. If we don't put the purchase order number in the reference number field, then a company has no idea what this booking relates to, and it makes them do a lot of work to try to find that all out, and they might just not pay our invoice if we don't make their lives easy. So if we go into here, we can click on purchase order, open that, and it's great. The manager of Perth or the GSA has uploaded that, which is exactly what we want. We can see here, hi team, PO 97211, use this for these guys. Go back. We can go back into here and we see 97211. So that's all correct. And then we go into here and you'll see they've selected the company and they've sent off an invoice and we got paid. Perfect. Okay, so going back to here, I'll just quickly show you how to send an invoice properly again. I just wanted to speak about this bill to area. So you see here, this was a virtual credit card one, but let's say this is corporate traveler. So we'll go here, corp, picks up the corporate traveler, we select that. Now, after we select the travel agent or company, we always want to save it. That's important, otherwise it's not going to come up in the invoice in this bill to area. Now, what a lot of managers or GSAs do, like I said before, is they'll send off the invoice to the client. And obviously, a lot of companies won't pay this because it doesn't have their company name on the invoice, it has the client's name. So we want to go up here and we want to change it to travel agent. If the company was selected, then we'd was selected before in the company field back here, then it would also have company there. So we select that, travel agent, book traveler, invoice, create invoice, email. At the property level, they email and print, and they keep a folder with all their outstanding invoices. So once an invoice is paid, they go into that folder and they throw out an invoice. Yeah. So it's created an invoice, select the invoices at corporatetraveler.com.au, and they check the chargeback voucher to ensure that's where it needs to be sent. Sometimes some travel agents, they might have a specific email for like a really big company. Say, I don't know, Maida or something. It might be Maida at Corporate Traveller or something like that. So you always want to check that chargeback voucher, or we want the managers GSA to do so. Anyways, they find the chargeback voucher, open it. I might do it this time, and then save and exit, and email and exit. And that's how you correctly send an invoice. Okay, so just quickly cancel this invoice and flip it back to client. So then it's left how it was and change this to charge BCC. Okay, so things to look out when an invoice has not been paid. Let's go back to this one. So first of all, I'd get the chargeback voucher, and I'd go through all those details I said before and double check that everything matches the reservation. Is the rate correct? Are the dates correct? Is the reference number correct? Sometimes some of these travel agents can be similar. Sometimes there's CTM and there's CT, Corporate Travel Management, and Corporate Traveller, but they're two completely different travel agents. So sometimes the guys at the hotel will send it to the wrong travel agent, and obviously they're not going to pay it. So look out for that. I'd look out for typos in the email. You can actually see here this email red column. I'm not 100% sure it worked properly, but anyways, if you see here invoice sent and it hasn't been read, it might be a tell that they haven't received the invoice, although like I said, I don't 100% think that's reliable. But anyways, you can go in here and see the invoice sent. So for example, go to this one, invoice sent, and you can see the email was read on the day that it was sent. If we haven't been paid and it's going past 45 days, I would check to see if the email, if there's any typos in the email. For some companies or travel agents, we might even need to call them up and ask them if it's someone's email like John Brown. We might need to call them up and say, is John Brown still working there? This is where we've been sending invoices, and often you'll find that the John Brown no longer works there. So we've just been resending this invoice over and over to a dead email box and never gets received. So yeah, that's a big one to check out for. And yeah, that's some major things to check out for. But I guess it just comes down to thoroughly checking the invoice and the chargeback voucher and having a bit of common sense about little things like the email and yeah. That's about it.